What's going on, guys? Gas Station here, and I want to give you guys a little breakdown, my own breakdown of the new Shadows of Valentia teaser trailer called Zophia's Call. I had a few people ask me if I wanted to do a little breakdown of it, and I wasn't really planning on doing it, but I feel like people wanted me to, people wanted to know my thoughts on it, so I decided to give it a try. And I really, after watching this trailer literally 20 times, I found some really cool aspects of it that I want to talk to you about, and this is going to be quite spoiler heavy. So the first thing you see a very cool Regalian king who is clearly invading Zophia, the very peace-loving, flowery, like monk, like priestess kind of girls. Totally just gonna mangle this guy. This is kind of strange animation. It's this balance between the sort of CGI 3D type stuff and 2D. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. Personally, I don't really mind. I'm really trying to not let my intense passion for this game kind of detract me from any criticism. I think this is just sort of a preference thing. Personally, I'm okay with it. It is a little jarring, to be fair. It is a little bit jarring. And then you get this cut of Alm and this graveyard. And it seems to have Regale Castle in the background, because you can see, I think, it looks like Regale. It's either Zophia or Regale, and it clearly isn't. Now, this is a very large gravestone, and I'm not really sure what exactly is going on. I can't quite remember a scene particularly like this. I'm trying to think, maybe in Chapter 4, but there doesn't really seem to be anything that comes to mind. And that being said, what this sort of implies to me is that Shadows of Valentia is actually expanding upon the story a lot. And you can see this, it's very evident, even in these scenes where you see, he says, you know what it signifies. I'm not sure what it means, but I think it might have to do just with his like zealous motivation. And if you've played Gaiden, you know what his motivation is. And I'm really curious to see if they expand upon this as well, because his motivation in the original game wasn't very good. It was, but for the most part, I kind of had a problem with it. I was shocked at what Gaiden did. I was sort of impressed, but at the same time, a little bit disappointed. It's a strange thing going on there. And then you see Celica's nightmare. She reacts to this. This is the point where she has these premonitions about Alm being in danger. And then you have the scene with the training between him and Mycin. Now, I really think this is cool because this is the exact animation that is used in the normal attack animation from FE2, which I think is a really cool like homage to have her have that jump strike, which is really cool in GBI in FE2, and I'm really excited to see it being a critical in her Shadows of Valentia. Boom, right there, really cool stuff. Now, this is also a really interesting scene to me because a sort of epic battle ensuing between Zophia's army led by Alm against Regale was never really, it wasn't at all sort of portrayed in the game. It was very minimalistic, and you just had this feeling that there probably is an army behind Alm, but now they're really illustrating that and expanding upon that whole entire aspect of country versus country, which I find super intriguing, but not quite the best part about what they're doing with the story here. It's this part right here. This, I find, is the literal proof in the pudding that they are expanding upon the story of Gaiden. So in this scene, we see two paladins here. One's name is Zeke, and this part is going to be quite spoiler heavy, so you've already been warned, I'll just tell you again. Zeke is actually Camus from FE1. His story in Valentia pretty much is he gets sort of lost, he loses his memory from an incident in FE1, and he's brought to Valentia somehow. He's brought over, he's mended, and he's taken care of by this woman named Tita. He ends up becoming a Regalian soldier and ends up becoming a fellow Regalian general, and he's sort of partnered alongside this other Regalian general as well. And what is the definite proof in the pudding that Gaiden is expanding this story is they're giving Jerome screen time. Jerome in Gaiden was just this generic guy who was just a boss, and he was a palette swap. In fact, he wasn't even a palette swap. He was so generic that they gave him the exact same portrait as Desai, or Sykes, or whatever his name is, who is a general in, I think, chapter 2 or 3 that Alm had to fight. And he was so boring and generic, he was just this throwaway character who they didn't even bother doing a palette swap of. And here you see him as a fully fleshed out, seemingly significant sort of gray area sort of character here who's partnered up with Zeke. And in the chapter where you engage with Zeke, there are requirements that, and if you fill them or not, you can have Zeke on your army or not. So I find it super, super intriguing that they went this far in expanding the story and giving Jerome a character and screen time and stuff like this. I am so interested in seeing this event play out. This is chapter 4, I'm fairly certain, Path of Sorrow. Like I said before, definite proof in the pudding that they're expanding upon the story of Gaiden and really fleshing out so much minimalism that was in the original game. And you see here, Alm is fighting against Zeke right here. And this animation is just so beautiful and fluid. And they really make Alm look like this total young, like chutzpah, crazy, like youngster general, which I find is so cool. Alm, his entire character revolves around him being insanely passionate and insanely powerful, but very youthful and reckless. And he's sort of like, he's like Ephraim. It's really interesting. He's like, Ephraim is Alm, and Celica is Erica, except obviously Celica plays a much larger role than Erica does, I'd say. I mean, they both do. And Alm is pretty much like Ephraim, except Alm is younger, most likely. They portray Ephraim quite young in Heroes, which I don't really like that much. I don't like his voice in Heroes that much. But that's the vibe I get. Alm is a total badass. And they make him out look much younger. They give him longer hair. They give him sort of more youthful appearance. But that's fine because in Gaiden he was this village kid, and I like how they're retaining that and they're just continuing to expand upon it. And then there's just Alm here nodding. And what I really find very intriguing is the amount of story expansion they're doing. I haven't really covered much of the gameplay elements itself. I have seen it. They're retaining HP taking damage, magic taking HP for casting, and people are quite skeptical of that. And rightfully so. It's kind of a strange mechanic, especially if you're like sort of a new gen Fire Emblem player. But honestly, and I know it's kind of funny to say, but literally if you have access, I'm not going to really kind of disclose how to get access, but if you have access to FE2 and you have an English translation, it would be beneficial to get a little bit of a taste of Gaiden. I will suggest that. I personally love it, obviously. And additionally, people are very skeptical about the weapon triangle and how they're most likely not going to add it into the game. I understand why they wouldn't add it. It's kind of a hassle at this point. It seems as much as they're expanding upon the story, they're keeping the gameplay quite grounded and quite similar. And Gaiden didn't have axe fighters, and I think by adding a weapon triangle, as much as it could be beneficial, I personally think, and I understand the depth of it as well, but I personally think it'll be fine on its own, by its own merits. But it is just a waiting game to see what it's going to be like. We'll see if it's a warm welcome or not. One thing I will critique Shadows of Valentia on, and something I critiqued very much on Gaiden on. In fact, I made a literal comment on this in one of my Gaiden Let's Plays, and I'll show you it right here. My big issue was that gravestones giving 60 avoid was such a pain in the ass, and I don't approve. I think this is one of the instances where if it is going to be as grounded and as similar as it was in Gaiden, this is going to be a demerit on this game, because 60 avoid was absurd. And if you caught yourself, and let me tell you right now, if you try to fight a zombie on a gravestone, just give up. Just literally bait them out.
Damn it. Oh my fucking god, I hate these dodge rates. I'm gonna fucking lose my shit. Can I just retreat? I can't fucking stand this. Holy fuck! What is with this? Why is this wizard so fucking fast? Now I'm gonna... Oh my fucking god. They're just all on the forest. They're all on forestry, I guess. Because I can't fucking hit anything.
Pretty cool.
Oh, he just goes on another fucking tile.
you serious?
Oh god damn it, Saber! Oh my god, Leo!
And that was one of the issues with Gaiden that it had, was that the terrain was the biggest detriment to that game. There were chapters filled with desert. It was one movement, and I hope they understand that complete desert maps aren't the way to go. And I hope they understand that a desert map that is expanded like FE8's desert map, which to this day I still think is one of the better desert maps in the game. I hope they correct all of the flaws that Gaiden had originally. And if they don't, it's something that I'm going to have to remark on because it's something that I harped on the original Gaiden did. But definitely excited to see the expansion of the story. Definitely excited to see the new roles characters play here. And it's really seeming like they're putting a lot of effort. They're putting a bunch of voice acting effort in, which I find the voice acting is great. I love the voice acting. A lot of the stories being expanded. Everything's being fully animated and fully voiced, which is super cool. And it's all great, and I'm just skeptical about certain gameplay mechanics coming back and not being improved upon. Obviously, it's just a matter of playing the game and seeing what it is when it comes out. But that all being said, guys, that's my take on this short 30-second teaser trailer of Shadows of Valentia, Zophia's Call. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, hashtag just play Gaiden, bruh. And as well, just play Shadows of Valentia, bro. Deuces.